Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm coming to you guys with another former Harley-Davidson intern from the Find Your Freedom internship from back in 2018, where Harley-Davidson gave motorcycles to college kids and said, here you go out and ride for a few months. Now, this intern is Charlie, as you would know her. Her social media channels are now under Cassandra Ann. This interview is going to be totally different from what I've done previously because, well, this is a really self-conducted interview. She was kind enough to basically film this all for me because as it stands right now, she's stranded on a cruise ship for over 40 days now, where the quarantine with the whole pandemic thing going on. So I'm going to ask that you go and subscribe to her YouTube channel where she goes over that whole experience, which sounds miserable, and also to follow her on Instagram as well. And I have to say, it's kind of interesting to send over a list of questions to somebody and then just have all the videos sent over to you and have the interview basically told to you through editing. It was really interesting, and it was really great, and I enjoyed going through it because as I was editing it, I was learning her responses at the same time, as opposed to going through filming a whole interview and already knowing what was said. So very interesting for me as well. And you know, again, if you guys haven't subscribed to her channel yet, I'll link that in the description down below. While I'm at it, if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into this interview and let it run.
Hi Dan, thank you so much for inviting me onto your channel. I'm so excited because I can't believe that it has been 2 years since this amazing opportunity, this incredible experience that I had with Harley-Davidson. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Cassandra. I now go by Cassandra Ann on YouTube, but during my internship everyone knew me as Charlie. I decided to name myself Charlie because I really liked the way that it sounded when you say, "Oh, Charlie on her Harley." And at the beginning when I got the internship, I imagined like this was it. This was my life. I was gonna be riding a Harley-Davidson, making YouTube videos, empowering women, and breaking the stereotype for years to come. Of course, that did not happen, but yeah, that's why I was really committed to becoming the representative that I wanted to be. And that's why everyone knows me as Charlie, one of the 8 Find Your Freedom interns. I am all the way from sunny Cape Town, South Africa, which was definitely very different to all of the other interns. There were 6 interns from the US, and then of course Tony from London, and then myself from Cape Town. Now the reason I was placed in Rotterdam in the Netherlands during my internship was because South Africa, not to speak badly about my country, but it's not the safest place, especially because I was going to be traveling totally on my own, and also it was winter at that time of the year. Of course it was summer in the US and Europe, but winter in South Africa. Actually, at the start of the internship, when they advertised it and everything like that, I thought that I was going to be riding a Harley-Davidson throughout the US. So because South Africa is dangerous and the weather wasn't right for the internship, I motivated to Harley-Davidson saying, look, what do you think of this idea? I have family in the UK. I can go stay with them, no problem, and I'll do my internship there. So a couple days later, I got a contract saying, you're gonna be working in the UK, based out of Oxford, and creating content in Europe, basically, for the European market. And I was so excited. I was gonna go see all of my friends and family that I have in the UK, and it was gonna be amazing. And then 3 days later, they emailed me saying, ignore that contract. All the interns from the US were flying to Milwaukee, and they were off to go and have this amazing trip. And then I was just kind of sitting there at home, wondering what's gonna happen. Long story short, I landed up getting another contract, first for Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, and then another contract for Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Now, Rotterdam, I knew no one. The Netherlands, I knew no one. But I was excited because who in their wildest dreams gets to go ride a motorbike, a Harley-Davidson, in a country that you've never been to in your entire life, speaking a language that you can hardly understand? For a lot of people that sounds incredibly scary, but for me I was so excited. Literally, I was probably the happiest person on planet Earth when I got this email saying that I was going somewhere, because anywhere was better than sitting at home waiting to hear what was going to happen. In South Africa, we don't have the riding school like you do in the United States. So what I ended up doing was I contacted my motorbike trainer, because luckily 1 year prior I had managed to get my motorbike license, but I had literally ridden a Yamaha 250cc 6 times in the yard. I had never ever ridden a bike on the road. So I contacted my trainer, his name was Brent. I said, hey Brent, I'm a little bit stressed. I haven't ridden a bike in a year, maybe it was a year and a half, if not longer, and I'm flying in 2 weeks time to Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and I need to be able to ride a 1200cc motorbike. Oh yeah, not just any motorbike, a Harley-Davidson. And Brent was amazing. He said, Cassandra, relax, it's okay, we're gonna get you on this bike. We did one lesson on the Yamaha 250cc just to get the feel for a bike again, and the next lesson I was on his 800 Harley lowrider. That was the first bike I had ever ridden on the road. Now, you gotta remember, South Africa, the roads are not nearly as wide as they are in the US. People do not drive as safely, shall we say. So this was an experience, to say the least. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I'm on a flight. I'm flying to Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and I am put up in a hotel. So for the internship, because of my unique situation where I literally was not at home, I was told that I was gonna get a demo bike for the duration of the internship, and then once the internship was over, I would get my bike. I remember going to the Cape Town dealership, and I had been given like a list of options of demo bikes that I can ride while in the Netherlands. Now, a lot of the bikes that are available in the US or available in the Netherlands are not available in Cape Town yet. They don't get there as quickly. So I remember going into the dealership and I saw the Fat Bob, and I loved it. I was like, this bike is so sexy, it looks good, like I feel like this will work for me. Plus I'm pretty tall. I'm 176 centimeters tall, or 5'8.5", so I knew I would be able to handle it. Anyway, I sat on this bike and this guy comes up to me and he says to me, the bike's way too big for you, you're not going to be able to ride it. And me being a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, I listened to him. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go for a Sportster. I knew Tony was riding on a Sportster, so I knew like if he was gonna be able to do long distance on that, then I'm sure I would be able to do long distance on a Sportster. I landed up deciding to go for the Iron 1200. Ooh. I loved that bike. Over the duration of the internship, I fell in love with my bike. You have no idea how much I miss my bike, because it's like we had this bond. We had gone through battle together. When I arrived in the Netherlands, on the day that I went to go and pick up my bike, I remember getting on the bike with this trainer that they had organized for me there, because it was the first time I was going to be riding on the wrong side of the road, which is the right hand side of the road. I was going to be riding on a highway where the speed limit is 130 kilometers an hour, plus they've got different rules on the roads there. You're not allowed to ride in the fast lane. No one ever sticks in the fast lane. Always everyone sticks to the second lane. Like, there's just lots of rules that I had to learn. Also in the Netherlands, obviously it's packed with cyclists. Everyone is on bicycles, so the road is divided up kind of into 3 sections: pedestrians, cyclists, and motor cars or motorbikes. Whereas in South Africa, we just have a road for cars and everything goes on that. So of course I was minorly terrified. I got on the bike. He told me, okay, do a little loop around the parking lot. And within the first 2 seconds, I dropped the bike. I think it was just I had this weird anxiety that came over me all of a sudden, where I just thought of all these people back home who told me like, how are you not scared? How are you doing this? Like in a foreign country, totally on your own. Also, this was the first time I was ever riding the Iron 1200. They didn't even have the Iron 1200 back home. The only Harley-Davidsons I had ever ridden at that point were the Lowrider and the Sportster 48. Anyways, I got onto this bike after dropping it, and I never dropped it again. Never again. I think that bike and I just had such a bond. We were besties. And yeah, that was the start to my internship with Harley-Davidson. So the reason why my interview is slightly different to the rest of the interns' interviews is because as of right now, I am on day 41 of isolation in a cabin on a cruise ship, just outside of Miami. Now, you're probably wondering, how on earth did this even happen? How did this girl go from being Charlie on her Harley to Cassandra on a cruise ship? I don't even know, honestly. I'm the most random person you'll ever meet, but I embarked on the cruise ship on the 5th of December 2019. For about 3 months, I had an amazing contract. I was working full-time as an entertainer, as crew staff, and then Corona happened and I was meant to fly home. It was all a big drama. I made a whole bunch of YouTube videos about it if you're interested. But basically it was a big drama because I was meant to fly home on the 25th of January. It's been so long. January, February, March, 25th of March. South Africa closed their borders on the 26th of March, which meant I wasn't allowed to fly anymore because if I landed there, I wouldn't be able to get into the country. So essentially my country locked me out. So they brought me back to the cruise ship, and because I had been outside in Miami, a high-risk area, I had to be put into isolation, into quarantine for 2 weeks. So I was on my own in a room for 2 weeks. And then on day 14 of isolation, they announced that the entire ship was going to be going into isolation the following day. So day 1 of freedom turned out to be round 2 of isolation. So I did another 2 weeks of isolation in a room on my own. And then they announced that it was going to be another week. So I did another week of isolation. And halfway through that week, they announced that we were going to be staying in these rooms until further notice. So yes, this is day 41 for me in a room on my own. I'm doing my best to stay positive. I think a person can only be so positive at this point. But yeah, doing things like this, chatting with people, making videos is what is keeping me sane and keeping me positive and keeping me motivated throughout the day. Before the Find Your Freedom internship, I had just finished my studies at the University of Cape Town. My parents always said to me, okay, you have to get a degree, and then once you've got your degree, then you can kind of decide what you want to do. I had always had this dream of being a YouTuber since I was, well, I started making films when I was very young. I was probably in grade 6 or grade 7. Then throughout my studies, I realized that I was really longing for a creative outlet, a space where I could just create content and post it. Yeah, it wasn't about views or anything like this. It was purely just because I love to film and edit and create. And so what I did was I started up a fashion blog, and it started to actually do quite well. I started being invited to events. I got to go to launches of certain products or fashion products, and I was writing about it. And the reason why I decided to do fashion was because it was something that I could do in one place. Even though my true passion was always travel, I thought, let me rather see if I can get this ball rolling in the fashion department and the makeup and everything like that. And then once that was big enough, I could maybe turn that into something where I can actually travel with this audience. So yeah, before the internship, I was an up-and-coming fashion blogger in Cape Town. Then one day my brother came up to me and he was like, Cassandra, look at this. There's this crazy internship that Harley-Davidson Milwaukee's having. They didn't mention anything about it not being open worldwide. Why don't you apply? This was about 5 days before the cutoff date. So what I did was I just went crazy. I was filming everything. I was writing a script for my video, and I called it What Does Freedom Mean to Me? And I posted this video on the internet, and it got couple hundred views, and next second I was receiving an email from Harley-Davidson saying that they were interviewing a couple of people, I think about 15 people, and then they were going to narrow it down to 8 of us. I was so excited. For this interview, I studied Harley-Davidson. I've never studied so hard in my life. Throughout my entire university degree, I never studied so hard. I was desperate. A part of me just knew that I was going to get this internship. It was as if it was designed for me. I landed up getting it. After the interview, about a week or 2 later, I heard back. This day, I remember I sang in a choir. I was at a choir rehearsal, but I had to excuse myself quickly, and I took the phone call, and I remember being on the phone like, no ways, no ways. Like, I couldn't be too loud because it was going to be disrespectful to the rehearsal, but I was like in the background going, this is crazy, you know. I found out that I got the internship around the 14th of June. The entire internship was around 2.5 months, but there was a little bit of time before that where the other interns went to Milwaukee and I was just kind of at home waiting to see what was going to happen. So maybe more like 3.5 months. A lot of my traveling was done in the Netherlands. I went to Amsterdam, to Delft, to Den Haag. I mean, the list is endless. And then what I did was I decided to venture a little bit further as my riding confidence grew. I rode to Belgium and I actually met up with a family friend who was doing a trip on their boat. And then I would just ride and they would sail to the next place and we'd meet up, and they were kind enough to let me stay with them. So it was an amazing opportunity, and that was a lot of Belgium that I got to see. But my longest trip that I did was when I decided that I wanted to go to London. I wanted to go and visit. I wanted to challenge myself by doing a long trip on my own. So I landed up packing my bags and riding all the way from Rotterdam in the Netherlands all the way down through Belgium, through the tip of France. Then I caught the Eurotunnel, which is this really cool train that goes underneath the ocean, all the way to Folkestone, which is on the border of the UK. I went to Dover to see the White Cliffs, and then I rode all the way through to Watford, which is just outside of London. And then 3 days later I did the whole trip all the way back again up to the Netherlands. 2 days after I arrived back from that whole long trip, I had to pack up my entire place that I was staying in. I posted some of my luggage to London so that I could send it back to South Africa, and I flew to Milwaukee. I kind of invited myself because I said, there's no way I'm not gonna meet the people who gave me this amazing opportunity. There's no way that I'm not gonna meet the other interns. The entire internship I was on my own. The only time that I got to see another intern, which was Tony, was at the very beginning. They flew me out to Prague because I wasn't experienced enough or anything to ride all the way from the Netherlands to Prague. Wow, no, that would have been very dangerous, especially in Germany on the Autobahn. So I was definitely way too scared to do that. So they flew me out to Prague. I was just on the back of Tony's bike there, and that was amazing. I loved it. It was the 115th anniversary in Prague, and Tony's such a cool guy, and we had so much fun at this event. But also that was the only event that I had planned for me the entire summer. The rest of the summer was just me on my bike. I didn't have any events. I looked for events, but it just never worked out. And of course, when I got to Milwaukee, the best moment for me was when we were at all these demo bikes. Everything from the Streetsters to the Sportsters to the CVOs to the Trikes. They were lined up there for demo rides. And suddenly I was brought back to the dealership in Cape Town and then telling me that I can't ride this Fat Bob. And this guy, this amazing man, was telling me, Charlie, you're gonna get on the smallest bike and you're gonna ride every single one of these bikes until you get onto the biggest bike, and you're gonna see that riding the biggest bike is almost easier than riding the smallest bike. And I was mesmerized by how nice this gentleman was. I was like, wow, this guy is such a nice, supportive man. Anyway, I got on all these bikes, I rode all these bikes, and the best moment for me was when we were at the dealership, one of the dealerships in Milwaukee. The manager of the shop lent me his own personal Fat Bob to ride. That's how much he believed I could ride this bike. And I rode it. I rode it all over Milwaukee. It was amazing. That was a really special moment for me. How did you feel as a young woman and the Harley-Davidson brand? I can honestly say that in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in France, in the UK, in the United States, I was 100% supported, encouraged, almost admired. Honestly, I would be riding on the road and people would roll down their windows. Well, I make it seem like everyone's still driving these old cars, but people would put down their windows and they would take photos of me and give me a big thumbs up and like, yeah man, like they would be so proud of me for being this brave young woman on this bike. And a part of me was like, why is everyone so shocked by this? But another part of me actually loved it. I thought, this is great. People are taking notice. People are perhaps feeling a little bit inspired to do the same, which was the whole point of this internship, to get new riders. Riders that were not the stereotype onto the bikes. Riders who are too scared to ride. Riders who think that they don't fit into the brand, to feel like, hey, here's this girl who doesn't look anything like the stereotype. She's he's riding this Harley-Davidson, maybe I can do it too. One of my favorite stories is when I was stuck in the craziest traffic jam in London, well, trying to get to Watford, and one of the main highways had been cut off, so there was this crazy traffic jam. I think I was in this for about 3 hours. Now, I had never filtered through traffic before, or as you guys probably know it as like lane splitting. I'd never done this before, and I was way too scared, and here I'm sitting on this 250 kg Harley-Davidson Iron 1200 trying to clutch control the entire time with no cruise control. My wrist was dying, and this guy comes up to me. He's riding some green Ducati, and he says to me, he puts up his visor and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm too scared. I've never done this before." And he says, come with me." And I said, "No!" And he said, "You're coming with me." I said, "I'm too scared." And this guy said, "Come, you're coming." So he said, "You go first and I follow." And I said, No. You go first, I follow. Anyway, for a little while there, I was following him behind his bike, and then he would pull over on the side and he said, "Okay, you go first," and then he would ride behind me on his bike. And eventually, when I got my confidence, he just gave me like a nod of the head and he rode off. It was such a special moment for me to realize like this biker community supporting each other. This guy didn't judge me for being a woman. He didn't see me as like this little girl who can't do it, or say like, "You're on this bike that's bigger than my bike, you should be able to do it." No judgment. He just encouraged me and he supported me and he helped me along, and I don't even know who this person is. I don't even know what his name is, but I'll remember him forever. What is sad though, and I don't like to say negative things, but when I got back to Cape Town, I was so thrilled to be getting a Harley-Davidson Softail Slim. And in my mind, I was going to be continuing making YouTube videos, making content, and continuing to grow this community that I was starting to get on YouTube and on Instagram. When I got back to the dealership in Cape Town, I had to liaise to get my bike through them. It was the most dramatic, longest, heartbreaking 2.5 months. Because it went from being everyone's supportive, everyone's proud, everyone's inspired, to everyone intensely dislikes me. And I didn't understand why they weren't proud of this young South African girl traveling across the country on her own on this big motorbike, and why they wouldn't take advantage of the fact that I was so different from the stereotype. But for some reason they didn't like me, or at least they didn't like the idea of this 21-year-old getting this incredibly expensive bike, which I can totally understand. 100% I can understand. But for me, it was like I was one of 8 chosen out of 7,500, 8,000 applications. I was the only South African. I don't see why you wouldn't be proud of that. Why wouldn't you encourage this woman, this girl, to keep going rather than break her down? So yeah, for a long time there, I was very disappointed. All my nerves came back with riding. But now that I've been stuck in this room on a cruise ship, I am so excited to be making content again and to finally go for my dream of becoming a YouTuber with my boyfriend. We're gonna do it, and definitely there's gonna be some motorbike content coming your way, and Harley-Davidson Milwaukee, Harley-Davidson Rotterdam, oh, amazing people. But Harley-Davidson Cape Town, it was, if I never have to go there again, it'll be too soon. And maybe that's a bit strong, but yeah. That's how I feel. You have produced around 20 plus YouTube videos with Harley-Davidson content and produced a bunch of fashion makeup tutorials. This seems to be an incredible opportunity for Harley to reach young women who may then stumble across the brand. Thoughts? I love this question. When I first started creating content for Harley-Davidson, I thought about it. I was like, I could easily become this biker chick and have all my content be about riding my Harley-Davidson. Now, because I've got a lot of experience in marketing and because it's also part of what I studied and everything, I thought about it. I was like, if I create content that's only about bikes, who's going to be watching my videos? People who are interested in bikes. But if I create content that is about traveling to Belgium, riding to go and get my nails done, going for an ice cream, whatever it is, then I'll attract a different kind of audience. But the only difference is all of these activities, all of these things that I'm doing them on a Harley. I'm doing them on my Harley. So I imagined with all my content that I created, I would attract an audience that was interested in travel and maybe more girly kind of things. And that way, my videos would give them the idea that, oh my gosh, there's this girl doing this on a Harley-Davidson. I also want to do it on a Harley-Davidson. Rather than me just going and posting videos that were only about the motorbike, that would attract people that are already interested in the motorbike. It was sad for me that I think Harley-Davidson saw it as me potentially like taking a holiday. I'm telling you, I've never worked so hard in my entire life, because as much as I was seeing the world, I was going to go do things, I would get straight back to my room, offload the footage from my drone, from my camera, from my GoPros, and I would just edit quickly so that I could produce this video and get it out there, because I wanted to show people, look how much I can do in such a short period of time. Plus, these YouTube videos are gonna live on so much longer than an Instagram storyboard. There was this one time I wanted to get the shot of me riding on my Harley Iron 1200 with my drone. So what I did was, I set up my drone up in the sky. I was on my bike and I set it to auto track, so I set it to track me. I threw my cell phone and the remote control to the side into the grass, and I just rode my bike, and I got this awesome shot of me riding along the road. And then I did a U-turn, rode all the way back, the drone's still following me, and then for about 45 minutes I was digging through the bushes looking for this remote control and cell phone. That's how dedicated I was to creating content for Harley-Davidson. So yes, I definitely think that Harley-Davidson missed an opportunity. I think with any of the interns they miss an opportunity, but I think really with me, because this is exactly what I wanted to do with my life, because I'm nothing like the stereotype, I really thought that it's sad that they almost let me get away. And that's not in a cocky way, it's not in a way that I think, oh, I'm so much better or anything like that, not at all. But I just thought, you know, this was something that could have been huge. It really could have been amazing, and I would have been the happiest person alive to do it. Was I offered a job at the end? No, I was not offered a job at the end. I asked about, they've got like a program where you learn about each of the departments, but I think it's only open to people from the US. So there were kind of no job opportunities for me afterwards. But I was actually okay with that, because obviously I had all these plans with creating my own content on YouTube and just continuing to keep the ball rolling in South Africa. But like I explained, that did not happen. How do I feel about the brand now? Harley-Davidson will always have a big part of my heart. It was the first motorbike I really learned how to ride, the first bike that I rode on the road. I love how loud and mean they can be. I love my Softail Slim. She is beautiful. She's white and just gorgeous, and I decided to go for the white one with the chrome because I felt like, you know, once again I wanted to break the stereotype. I didn't want to go for a totally blacked out bike. I wanted something that was more me, maybe a little bit more feminine, and I would 100% I would work with them again. But I would just want to work with people who support me and who are passionate and believe that it doesn't matter how girly or masculine or inexperienced or experienced you are. All what matters is that you're here to have a good time. And I think I said it in one of my videos when I was in Prague. At the end of the video, I say how the thing that I love about the brand is that at the 115th anniversary of Prague, it wasn't just the die-hard bikers that were there. It was the random person on the side of the street. It was the fashion blogger. It was the young baby. You know, everyone was there. Everyone was in Prague. And for me, that's what I love about the brand. That's what I love about Harley-Davidson. I do think people are intimidated to walk into dealerships. I was definitely intimidated to walk into the one in Cape Town. But funnily enough, when I was in Rotterdam, because it does have a bit of like a intimidating aspect, once you get past that, once you get through that, it's an amazing community of bikers that are just here to have a good time and enjoy life. What bike did I get, and do I still have it? Yes, of course I still have my bike. That bike is not going anywhere. And I was so dedicated to becoming a YouTuber on my Harley, I even got a custom number plate and it says Charlie across it. Charlie. So yes, as soon as I get back to South Africa, when all of this corona has ended, I am planning on setting that all up and riding my bike. So I'm so excited for that day. Do you have any other stories that you might have about your experience? I don't know if I really have any other stories about my experience, but what I can say is that the people who followed me on YouTube and Instagram. They're still following me today. It's amazing to see that it's kind of like I have this family, this community online, and they're encouraging me and waiting for me to get back on the bike, to create more content on the bike. And I just kind of want to say thank you to everyone who's supported me throughout this journey. Even now, when I'm stuck on the cruise ship, they're sending me messages saying, hey Charlie. They're still calling me Charlie, even though I'm calling myself Cassandra online. They're saying, hey Charlie, stay strong. You're a strong woman. You can get through this. Stay positive. And we love that you're always smiling. And that's it. I just want to say to everyone, especially now during this crisis and everything, just stay strong, keep smiling, keep dreaming of the day you get to ride your bikes again. It will come. And yeah, I just want to say to you, Dan, thank you so much for taking this time to put this video together and to send over your interview questions. I really appreciate it. I've really enjoyed reminiscing, and here's to making awesome content and living a happy life.
So thank you very much for taking the time in your quarantine to put this video together for me and provide the answers to the questions that I sent over. It means a lot to me that you would do that, and I really hope that you get back to normal life. You know, being stuck here in my house is really not nearly as bad as being stuck on a ship. So, you know, I definitely feel for you there and hope you get back to normal sometime soon. So guys, again, thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.